day, everyone. I am making this video to show you how to create a Google quiz using Google Forms. Now, there's a bunch out there, so I'm really going to focus on my tips and tricks. To start off with, I like to start it with my Drive to keep myself organized. So I'm going to click on the New button and go down to More and go to Google Forms. This is going to give you a blank form to start with, and using this blank form, you can turn it into a quiz. So it is there generated for you. So of course you can give it a name. I'm going to call mine a test 1 just because. Before I go any further, I'm going to make sure it has been titled, click on the different things, and I'm going to go over here to these buttons here. Now I get fussy about theme, so I always like to choose different images and headers for that, but I'll go beyond that today. And then I'm going to go over here to settings. So I'm going to start it with quizzes, and I'm going to make this a quiz. Now I am lucky enough that my kids have Chromebooks, so I'm going to turn on the locked mode, meaning that they have board given Chromebooks for them, so they can do this quiz in a locked mode, meaning that they can only see their screen. They can't click into different tabs and do other things while they're working on their quiz. Now you've got some options here about releasing grades. Depending on what kind of quiz I do, if it is a straight up, the computer can mark it and deliver it right back to them, then I can click on this option. Most of my quizzes have something that I need to look at, like a short answer in it that they'll have to do. So I click on there. Down here, they can see their missed questions, sure, the correct answers when you give them back, and the point values. You can choose to have those on or not. Sometimes I click off on the point values in case it may give them a hint about how many different possibilities there are. Like if I have an option where they're going to choose 3 different correct answers, if the point value is shown to them, then they know that there has to be 3. So there is that for them. Going across presentation, I like to give them the progress bar just to make sure they can see how well they're doing it. I don't worry about a question order. And I don't necessarily worry about that. Now this option's been turned off because it's a quiz. I only want them to do it once. I don't want them to do it multiple times. That's because I've made this a quiz and it's on a locked mode. So that means I can only do it once. And then finally in the general, these settings are turned off because I have my locked mode on there. So it's limited to my board, the DDSB, and I'm only going to limit it to 1 response. So that's because I have the locked mode on for them. So that's what they're going to be using. So I'm going to save that. And to get started, I always start out with a password. I want them to, I can put the quiz on the classroom at any time, but in order for them to start it, they'll need to wait till I give them a password. That way, if I have multiple classes doing the same quiz, I can put a password in there, and I can change the password after one class has done it, and then wait for my second class to do. And that's shown up automatically here as response validation. I'm going to make this a required thing, so they have to complete this before moving on. So it's a password, it's going to be a short answer text that's already been come up, and the response has been activated. So I'm going to change that to a text because I want them to type something in, and I'm going to give them a password. So it's going to be test, capital T, and a 3 instead of a E and an ST, and maybe just put a little error in. Oops, try again if they put the wrong password in. All right, so that's going to be that. Then I'm going to create a new section. So then there's going to be a different thing that's going to be coming up for them. I'm going to show you this quiz that I've created here. This was a growing and shrinking patterns quiz that I had started with the password. So I believe my password was pretty simple. It was pattern. And then I go through and I create a name section. Now I like to create a name section just to know whose answers go to who. When I'm finished marking it, I usually get their S numbers or their student IDs, but I don't have any name attached to it. So it's a little bit easier for me to give feedback and figure out how they're doing if I give them a name section. And then from there, I've got all sorts of different choices here. Now I've inserted some pictures in here that I've gotten from the work, and they can refer back to that. So I've made this a short answer, another short answer, another short answer, different options here. There's some, this is a lot of short answers that I put in here. There's all sorts of different choices that you can do too. So when you click on the plus button, you can have multiple choice that show up. Really like multiple choice, or a quick answer, quick feedback. Checkboxes could be an option, or a drop down could be an option. Short answers and paragraphs are also ones here. Now, depending on the purpose of it, if it's a quick check-in and I'm interested in the computer doing a lot of the work, I'm going to choose a lot of these options here, multiple choices and checkbox and drop downs, and that's going to help them help the computer do the work, meaning it's going to be less to me. So is the best teacher? It could be a great question to start off with, and then you've got different options that they could do. I'm going to make this a required question, so everyone has to do it, and then I'm going to click into the answer key. This is going to allow you to choose which is the correct answer and how many points they get for it. You ready? Then when they choose that, they're going to get a quick feedback, because the computer is going to be able to give it to you very quickly. Sorry, back to the answer key. I could also give them feedback that everyone gets. If they got an incorrect answer, I could give them feedback. If it's a correct answer, I'd give them feedback, and give a link to something. And as well, you can put a link to a video here for them to get some really rich understanding about what they are doing and how they're using this quiz. Really great. It's a time saver. It becomes a little bit tricky at the beginning, trying to figure out what you're trying to do and what kind of things you want them to do. But once you get a handle on it, it's a really great tool for you to get feedback and get some great thinking from your kids. Good luck.